Hey guys, it's Sarah with knitwithsara.com and welcome to Foundations in Knitting, where I'm going to equip you with all of the skills you need to start out as a beginner knitter. In my first video, we're going to go over how to do the knit stitch. And you can see here I've got a little stockinette swatch worked up. All these little V's are the knit stitches. So I want to take a moment and talk about different knitting styles, because you'll see in all of the videos in my Foundations in Knitting series, I'm going to demonstrate the English style, which is holding the working yarn in your right hand, and also the Continental style, which is holding the yarn in your left hand. Now, for those of you that don't know, I am actually a left-handed person. I write with my left hand and do everything with my left hand. However, I knit in sort of a modified English style, so I hold the yarn in my right hand, the working yarn. So just because you're a right-handed person doesn't mean that you have to hold the yarn in your right hand. That's my point. I know lots of right-handed people that are continental knitters that hold the yarn in their left hand. So I always recommend, if you're a beginner, to trial both English and continental and see what feels best for you. All right, so we're going to get started with the knit stitch in the English style. So in order to do that, we're going to pick up our working stitches here on our needle in our left hand, and we're going to pick up our empty needle in our right hand. So what we're going to do is first thing we're going to do is we're going to load the yarn, the working yarn, in our right hand for English style. So I will just show you how I do it. This is not the only way to do it. Once you get around a lot of other knitters, you'll see every single person I think I've ever met who knits holds their yarn in a slightly different way, because all of our hands are shaped differently. So you need to just figure out like I said before, experiment, play a little bit, figure out what works the best for you. So things to keep in mind as you're loading the yarn. You want to make sure that the yarn is able to move easily in your hand. You don't want to have it too tightly gripped that you can't feed the yarn through your hand, but you also don't want to hold it too loosely, because that's going to make your stitches on the needle very large and your tension will be uneven. So you kind of want to find that sweet spot of being able to feed it through easily, but also have some control over what you're doing. So I'm just going to show you how I personally load the yarn in my right hand, and how I do it is I scoop the yarn with my pinky, I put it over my ring finger, and then catch it with my index finger. So you can see it kind of goes over my index, under my middle finger, over my ring, and in my pinky. And I squeeze my pinky and my ring finger together, and that's what provides the tension for me. So I'm going to pick up the needle. I'm going to load the yarn. All right, so to begin, you're going to insert your needle into the stitch here. I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm inserting it into the front to back. All right, so we want to make sure that our yarn is coming out in the front. We're going to put it under the front of the stitch on this needle, the first one, to the back. Now what I like to do is just kind of use my thumb here to pinch these two together. So look, I can take my right hand away and the needle is still being held there, just very gently. So I'm going to take my hand away and I'm going to rotate the yarn around to catch it. Okay, I'll do that again. We're going to rotate around and make a loop on the top of the tip of the needle there. I'm going to pinch the needle again, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down and pull it through off the needle. So now I've got one knit stitch on my right hand needle. So I'm going to show you that again. I'm going to insert front to back, pinch together, rotate that around, grab the needle again, pull it under, up and off. All right, I'm going to do that one more time so you guys can really see what I'm doing. Insert front to back, pinch together, rotate around, pinch again, down, and off. And that is the knit stitch in the English style. Now to knit in the Continental style, that involves having the working yarn in your left hand. So I'm just going to swing this working yarn around so it's coming from the left side. Now if you watched the earlier part of this video when I discussed English style and loading the yarn onto your hand, same rules apply. You just have to figure out what works best for you. So when I load the yarn, it's very similar in both hands. I scoop the yarn underneath my pinky, put it over my ring finger, under my middle finger, and over. Now the trick to working, and I kind of put it over my ring there to kind of add a little bit of squeeze there. So you can see it's over my index, under my middle, over my ring finger, and down through in between my ring finger and my pinky. Now the trick to Continental, a lot of people will have lots of different lengths of this yarn here. This is the yarn that is going to make your stitches. So I like to have my finger relatively close to the needle with the stitches on it. But you'll see people go way out here, all the way down. So I like to have my finger very, very close to the left-hand needle because it allows me to knit a little bit faster. So I'm going to show you how this works. So to make a knit stitch in the Continental style, you have your working yarn loaded and ready to go. You're going to take your right hand needle, insert it front to back, just like with English style. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the needle, see how I'm kind of picking that stitch. And since we're knitting the first stitch, I tend to brace it with my index finger and pull it through. No, you can't really see that very well. Let me try that again. Insert front to back. I'm going to pick that strand there and pull it through. See how I kind of came through there? All right. For me, the first stitch of Continental, I always kind of have to use my index finger to brace that. But I'll show you next. It goes a little bit faster as you get going. Front to back. All right, let me see. You can see here see that strand there? It's already ready to be picked up and pulled through. So you can kind of open that up. Can you see that there? See how that's kind of opened up? Pull it through. All right, so I'm keeping good tension with this finger here. You can open up that stitch pretty wide and grab the yarn and pull it through. Grab the yarn and pull it through. All right, insert front to back. That yarn is already there, ready to go. You pick it. Continental knitting is also called picking, and pull it through. And then as you get more comfortable, you can actually do this relatively quickly. All right, again, keeping good tension on your working yarn, just kind of feeding it through as you go along. All right, and that is how you knit the knit stitch in the Continental style. Hey guys, it's Sarah with Knit with Sarah, and I want to say thank you so much for watching one of my tutorial videos. If you like what you see, hit the like button down below and make sure you subscribe so you can be notified whenever I upload a new tutorial to my channel. Thanks again, guys. See you next time.